Let's try to look at EuroCAD. Let's do it like this. Let's see beauty that EuroCAD in principle was even at lower volumes at this moment. But again, logically, we are going down. For what purpose? We are going down for
A link to all the information is on the YouTube profile.
to try to take out this low because there are more interesting places below. And if we consider the larger situation, we need to take out this low. Now it's showing some kind of anomalous candle. That is, well, how would you enter, for example, on a pullback against such a huge candle where you have a complete absence of buyers? But the interesting point is that the seller is smaller than the candle. This, of course, can be considered. There is no loss of strength in the cluster for EuroCAD yet. Could a pullback occur from here? There is, in principle, an interesting point that one could focus on in this situation. Let's take a look. The area of interest is above. Below, I see a lot of volume. 104 ticks at the very bottom. There is volume here for the continuation of the movement downwards. One could assume that you see the area of interest was here and already here. That is, the sellers are dragging it there and managed to fix it at this point. So the buyer is not strong. Do you see how much volume is below? With such a volume, they can easily pass this minimum. So I wouldn't risk entering on a pullback movement here. A large candle, a ton of additional volume. Therefore, there is absolutely no buyer in terms of volume. We follow the logic for what purpose? In order to pass this minimum, or rather to bounce off it. Therefore, in this situation, it is skipped. Although if you consider it for a decline and use these pullback movements to your advantage. Wait, this moment caught my interest. There is a stop, by the way, in the cluster of the zone of interest at the very bottom. Yes, there is resistance from the buyer. This wasn't even a removal. Oh no, it was a removal. It was an update of the minimum. There is a reaction. Good. I certainly didn't expect such a reaction. Now I'm considering entering for a decline. It's unlikely there will be a strong buyer, but I'm bothered by this large candle, which I would like to close at least halfway. So what does the buyer show us by ticks? By 23 ticks. No, I'll take into account EuroCAD for a decline, but I'll consider 4 minutes down at this moment. It seems to me that 2 minutes might be too little right now because a pullback movement is happening currently. That is, if they suddenly decide to go and try to close this impulse, I'll take a bit more time just in case. The distance here allows for it. There you go. And by looking at these candles, you'll see how strong the seller was. No, and check what kind of buyer was there. There was a maximum of 34 ticks, something like that. So from the cluster, it was already clear that the buyer looked weak. So in terms of analysis, I've basically explained everything now, and 2 minutes here would have been just perfect. 5 seconds left until the end. That's a plus. And I remind you that I have opened a general chat in the Telegram channel. If anyone is interested, you can join. This is how it all looks, and this is how it looks on TradingQ.